between Hawthorn and Richmond, and you can hear that match live here on 5AA. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Trust RAA to watch over you 24/7 with a personal alert system.
Possible late rain 15. Tomorrow, rain at times 14. A possible shower and 14 on Sunday. Monday, a morning shower 13. A possible shower for Tuesday 14. Right now, it's 3 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Pick up a Chrysler 300C luxury with leather interior, advanced safety technologies and 20-inch alloys for just $48,000 drive away. This is 5AA Breakfast.
Ooh, 3 degrees if you're tucked up in bed listening to the program. Good luck to you. I'd like to be there, not necessarily with you, but you know what I mean. You understand where I'm going with that.
Not really.
Well, let me clarify.
I'm just backing away.
Hey, by the way, Jane and David, Matthew Pantelis, our intrepid news director, is a marvellous photographer.
He is. We've just had a magnificent full moon. Don't bother getting out of bed to have a look at it because it has now set. But for your entertainment, he has actually taken a photograph of it and he has tweeted it. So if you follow us on Twitter, you can have a look there. And we're just in the process of uploading it onto our 5AA Facebook page. It is an absolutely stunning photograph. And what makes it even more special is that it was a blue moon. It was our second full moon for the month of July.
6:37.
Well, our patriotic New Zealand-born listeners will know that that was the Kiwi National Anthem. I always thought it was Slice of Heaven by Dave Dobbin, but apparently that is the Kiwi National Anthem. And the reason we are playing it is that, believe it or not, a group of politicians in New Zealand, this is amid the debate over there led by their PM John Key about changing the flag, they're now saying, while we're at it, why don't we change our anthem as well, with one of them even describing it as a dirge. Well, you could certainly say that about Advance Australia Fair. To get a much better idea as to the direction in which this debate is heading over the ditch, we are joined now by Selwyn Manning, the editor of EveningReport.nz. Selwyn, between the flag and now the anthem, you guys are making some fairly radical or proposing some fairly radical changes to the nation's institutions there.
It'd make sense if there was a plan to it, Dave. You know, if it was indicating a direction toward putting a referendum out there for a republic or something like that, it would make sense. But it seems that these politicians are just wanting to get in the limelight. First, we saw John Key saying wanted to change the New Zealand flag. A lot of people kind of thought, OK, well, what do you want to change it to? He didn't seem to know. It cost the country $26 million while he's been on a roadshow and also a referendum that is coming on that. And the opposition leaders, they're just wanting to be in the spotlight, in my view, as well, Dave. The leaders of the Labour Party and the New Zealand First Party, they want to have the national anthem, as you've alluded to, changed. Now, they argued this week that the current national anthem, God Defend New Zealand, is nothing more than a dirge, as you said there. But every year, this is the weird stuff about this, every year at the beginning of its national conference, the Conservative National New Zealand First Party members, they all stand there, hand on heart, and sing the national anthem. But this week, its leader, Winston Peters, he said, and I quote here, "I've never heard anyone singing our national anthem when they were happy." End of quote. So it says a lot for his national conference for a start. But the other thing is that it is underlying, I suppose, a bit of a shift that is going on in New Zealand, where some of those kind of conservative old ways are starting to be actually looked at and saying, are they relevant to our society that we got now? You know, when you consider the makeup of New Zealand, the New Zealanders here now is not dominated by two races, meaning the Māori and also Pākehā, or people from European descent. It's almost every nationality in the world is represented here in fairly large numbers, just like it is in Australia. Now, does our national anthem, which, you know, it often sounds like a hymn, does it reflect the New Zealand society? And I guess that's all you can make from it at this stage, Dave.
Selwyn, part of the anthem includes a verse in the Maori tongue, and I think that's a really important part of what you've got. I think that makes it extra special.
It is. There's talk amongst some quarters that perhaps the national anthem should be sung just in Māori. Now, in some ways, that came about when South Africa assumed its nationhood after the apartheid era, and New Zealand thought, okay, South Africans can sing in the two languages that dominate their society. Why shouldn't New Zealand? And there was a lot of pushback on that at first, but it's prevailed, and it's a lot of people have got pride. All our kids in school are absolutely fluent in singing our national anthem in Māori. A lot of us of my age still struggle to get that. So
did they change one of the verses in recent years to include a Maori verse? Is that what happened with it, Selwyn?
No, they'll sing both, one in English and one in Māori. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, and you'll see that the rugby games in particular, when the All Blacks will be playing you guys or something like that, you'll see it sung in the two languages at the beginning, I think just before the haka starts. Yeah. Are you
guys like Australians, where most people in New Zealand don't seem to know all of the words to the anthem? Because that's the thing in Australia, we could mumble our way through it with the best of them.
You can get through the first the verse. Get to the chorus or whatever, go into the second verse of it, and people are starting to struggle unless the writing is up on the screen.
I know. That happened to me the other night. And look, so meanwhile, the New Zealand Prime Minister, John Key, he's criticised the United Nations over this vetoing of the Russian vote on the investigation into MH17.
Yeah, he has. Now, John Key told reporters yesterday, Jane, that he was disappointed but not surprised that the Russian diplomats blocked a push to secure Security Council backing for that tribunal to bring to justice those responsible for the deaths of 298 people who were on board MH17. Now, he noted that Australia had persuaded 11 of the 15 member nations of the Security Council to vote in favour of the investigation, but remember that China, Angola and Venezuela abstained from the vote, and Russia vetoed the move. Now, New Zealand, he is saying, and he's right here, that New Zealand has long opposed the use of veto by the permanent members of the Security Council, and it's understood that New Zealand diplomats, while New Zealand is on the Security Council as a non-permanent member and also as the president of it, our diplomats are attempting to garner support to reform that constitution. But obviously that's a long-term game. John Key and his government, they indicated yesterday that they will support Australia in its efforts to establish an investigation independent of the UN Security Council into this crash. Yeah,
well, in memory of all those who died, it would be the only right thing to do. Selwyn Manning, the editor of EveningReport.nz. Great little segment about the New Zealand anthem being a dirge. Wonder if our listeners would make the same criticism of Advance Australia Fair. I don't mind our anthem.
I quite like the first verse. I was at this thing on Wednesday night for the blood bank, and they had the anthem, we all got up and sung it. And the first verse we all got through fine. But then they did the second verse, and barely anyone knew the words. You could see everyone looking up at the screen.
I just tend to repeat the first verse.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, just sing it
Gets
over
monotonous.
And over. Yeah.
Do you like the Advance Australia Fair?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I think it's a good anthem. No, there's not many great anthems. I reckon the two that stand out as great are the American national anthem, the USA's anthem, and the French national anthem.
That's pretty good. I like God Save the Queen because it's pretty simple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We should do that at school in the 60s.
Right. When we were going to school in the 60s, that was the Australian...
Well, that was the anthem, wasn't it?
That's right.
And then there was the plebiscite in, the 70s, about whether the anthem should still be God Save the Queen or whether it should be Advance Australia Fair or Song of Australia.
And Waltzing Matilda was being thrown around.
Was that on the list?
Not on the official list.
But you can't make your national anthem about a guy who steals sheep.
No, you can't do that. No, not really.
Maybe in New Zealand you could.
Hey, that's an idea.
6:44.
Quick, get the police on.
Well, speaking of which, what police